And here we have yet another Flat Earther video claiming to prove or debunk something, and in this case the South Pole is fake. And like a typical Flat Earther video, alternative facts are used and many important details are ignored in order to create arguments against the globe Earth and preserve the Flat Earth belief. Independent travel is not allowed below the 60th south parallel. Then a form is shown where nowhere does it specifically say that travel is not allowed to Antarctica. In fact, over 40,000 tourists a year travel to Antarctica, and there is no legitimate documentation that exists that specifically says you cannot travel to Antarctica, because that is simply not true. In this next part, he thinks he's debunking the South Pole by showing that the distances between the geographic South Pole to various points along the 60th parallel are not the same. Let's check this out, and yes, do pay attention to the distances. He is showing to be measuring from the geographic South Pole to 60 degrees, but when we zoom in on the information bar below, Google Earth is actually showing 68 degrees. And yes, he has 60 degrees on every one of his measurements, but the actual Google Earth measurements are different on each one, which is why every distance is different. Somebody wasn't paying attention. Okay, now that I've had my facepalm moment, how about we redo this honestly and from the proper South Pole location. The South Pole location is entered in Google Earth. Then a circle is drawn out from that location to the exact 60th parallel. Then a line is measured from the South Pole to exactly 60 degrees, and all distances are the same. Sorry, Flat Earthers, another one of your arguments debunked. In this next part, he mentions the geographical, ceremonial, and measured South Pole, along with the distances between them, and questions why there are 3 poles. That question is actually answered in the commentary that he posted, but I guess once again he wasn't paying attention, or maybe he just ignored it.
The spherical ball is actually a ceremonial pole, but because we're on a glacier here, any pole you put in the ground actually moves over the course of the year. So what we have over at the American flag is what we call the real pole. Every year they survey that to make sure it's at 90 degrees south.
And of course, now he thinks he's moving in for the kill by claiming the ceremonial South Pole is fake because we don't see the buildings that are supposed to be there in the background. And he goes on about the geographical South Pole being 131 miles away using maps filled with discrepancies, and he somehow thinks this debunks the South Pole. South Pole debunked. Are you sure about that, Mr. Taboo Conspiracy? Let's rewind and see, shall we? Where are the buildings? This flat earther automatically assumes that this is a lie without considering the possibility that the buildings could be behind the person taking the picture. And if he would have paid attention, he would have noticed that you can actually see the reflection of the buildings in the nice shiny metal ball. The ceremonial South Pole is an area set aside for photo opportunities during yearly ceremonies when flags of the original Antarctic Treaty signatory states are placed around it at the South Pole Station. The geographic South Pole is resurveyed and relocated every year to compensate for ice movement and is located a short distance away from the ceremonial pole. The distances between these poles that this flat earther is claiming in his video using his maps, which are obviously filled with many discrepancies, are irrelevant in this context and do not debunk the South Pole in any way whatsoever. Okay, after so easily debunking this video, taboo conspiracy, and all other flat earthers, I only have one question and some advice for you.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my god. Stop fucking lying. Stop fucking lying. Stop fucking lying.